Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S back at you another video, and welcome to part one of my ideas to potentially benefit Ireland, all being well, hopefully, for St. Patrick's Day. It's an early, or night early. Technically, it's quite late here anyway, but it's a day early just because tomorrow, I'm hoping to cover my plans for ideas to unite Italy and Italians together through or via or over football, or soccer, calcio, footy, or whatever you want to call it. So I didn't want to make too many videos in a day, and I've been sort of struggling to get around to making this and trying to think of what I want to say, because I'm thinking about not wanting the video to be too long. So anyway, I'll try not to waffle, as I often say. I was feeling a bit frustrated because ideally I would love to have travelled to Ireland and Italy and places like that and shared my ideas in terms of Italy for footy, soccer, calcio, or football coaching, or whatever you want to call it, and for Ireland to share my ideas. Generally, I had a chance to go to Ireland a while back, but back then I had a fear of flying, which I still kind of have, but I feel the fear and do it anyway, as one book says. But if anyone from a neurodiverse background, like people with dyslexia, ADHD, or other related conditions, such communities, and stroke or Anglo-Indians, other Eurasians or other mixed race people generally, or anyone who's kind enough wants to help me, especially those groups like neurodiverse people. I'd love to bring together a group of neurodivergent people, and Anglo-Indian and other Eurasian and mixed race people, and possibly anti-imperialists and other groups, to travel together. So if anyone's interested in helping me with that kind of thing, or even people from Ireland itself, I'd really welcome that. And I hope people from Ireland or from an Irish background, or people who love Ireland, will check out these videos. Anyway, talking about not waffling, here is a list, or the first part of my list, for my ideas to hopefully benefit Ireland potentially, which I hope will benefit the people of Ireland and the country of Ireland and its finances and economy. So here goes. So number one, I would love to support Irish startups. So if anyone has any ideas, suggestions, or whatnot, sorry, I can't speak properly, on how to benefit Irish startups, please let me know. One of the things I was thinking is raising their, looking at ways to encourage potential investors to invest. By the way, I hope this video is uploading properly, because the clock in the corner, glad I pronounced that right, it seems to be messed up or something like that, and it seems to keep flickering for some reason. So I hope it's recording properly, so please forgive me if it's not recording as well as I'd like. But anyway, I would love to support Irish startups, and by raising their profile, looking at ways to get VCs, i.e. venture capitalists, and other potential investors to invest in them, and that kind of thing. Number two, I would love for people to share in the comments any facts, stats, figures, and general info about Ireland, anything that might be interesting about Ireland, or anything you know about Ireland, and that kind of thing. Please post in the comment section, as I say, any facts, stats, figures, and stroke or information, general info, and that kind of thing. I would love to read it, and I think it'd be cool if people shared that for St. Patrick's Day. Again, I know I'm doing it a little bit earlier, because I'm fearful about taking on too much tomorrow, making too many videos tomorrow. So anyway, also I'd love to support Irish SMEs and bigger businesses as well, and general projects from Ireland, like maybe raising the profile of Irish entrepreneurs and things that Ireland sells, imports, exports, and again, facts and figures about Ireland, and also Irish social media influencers, Irish social media, so social influencers, content creators, or whatever you call them, and that kind of thing. And also things like places to see, places to go to, things to do, and that kind of thing in Ireland. It would be great to read that kind of thing. So things about Irish tourism, and I'll say it would be cool to raise the profile of Irish businesses, maybe have a list of the top 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, or even 100, or even 1,000, or maybe even, well, maybe a million's pushing it. Don't know if there are that many businesses in a small country like Ireland, especially. But however many entrepreneurs, Irish entrepreneurs and businesses and things like that, I think it'll be interesting to read about them and to help them to raise their profile. And again, social media content creators and things like that. Number 3, I would love for people from Ireland to share their views, or people from an Irish descent, from the Irish diaspora, those with Irish blood, and just people generally, even their views about Ireland. Could be views about immigration, freedom of speech, what freedom means to you, freedom of expression, and should I call any other sort of things about freedom, or just general issues, any sort of issues. I think it'd be interesting to hear different views. And again, if I could go to Ireland, I would love to travel to Ireland and ask people questions, and maybe people could take this idea on board if I'm unable to do so. So, and people in Ireland, as a suggestion, maybe they could ask pedestrians what their views are on things like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, what freedom means to them generally, migration, or any other sort of issues, political views, their views about the economy, politics, politicians, who they think should be in power, or any other sort of issues, or views that they have. I think that'd be pretty interesting to read and hear about, respectively. Don't know if you can hear my cat is driving me nuts in the background. I think they're hungry. I better feed them soon. But yeah, so I'd love to read about and hear about different views and try to accept. I always accept different views, whether I agree with them or not. I'm trying to take one side or another, but it would be interesting to read about those views. Number 4, it'd be cool to see Irish people uniting in Ireland itself and around the world. And on that note, I'd love to ask a question. Do you think there will ever be a united Ireland? And if so, when do you think that will happen? What do you think the chances are, and when do you think it could happen? Like, if you think it could happen, do you think it could happen in a long time or short time or whatever, obviously? And also, I'd love for, I don't know if I'd love for Irish people to be pacifists and conscientious objectors, but I know there's a stereotype that Irish people, I was going to say, one of the things is I'd love to know about stereotypes of Irish people, and I'd love to, and I think there's a stereotype that Irish people are quick to anger and quite hot-blooded, even though they're from Europe. Although it is the only nation in Europe, the only country or nation, or whichever term you want to use, in Europe that I would support financially / economically. In terms of football, I'd love to support the Mediterranean nations, especially Italy in particular. But financially / economically, whichever term you want to use, I use those terms interchangeably. Ireland is the only nation in Europe, as I say, that I would support, as I say, in that way. But I'd love for Ireland to remain neutral when it comes to wars. Maybe they could learn from the Swiss, so to try and avoid any war. And I forgot to say in point number 2 as well, which is probably for the best because that point did drag on a bit. But and again, I don't want these videos to drag on too much, but I'd love to know what nations are allied to Ireland, what Ireland could learn from other nations. Again, I meant to mention point number 2, but I probably got to learn sometimes more is less. But yeah, I'd love to know what nations Ireland is allied to, what nations they're favourable with, and how they can improve relations with other nations around the world, hopefully towards a mutual benefit, especially for Ireland itself. And also remembering my chain of thought, how not to forget things. What Ireland could learn from other nations, like what other nations do badly and what they do well. So what mistakes to avoid and things that could benefit their nation, learning from other nations. Hope that makes sense. Number 5, I'd love to read about and hear about Irish people's ambition, Irish ambition, and how to help Irish people to achieve their ambitions and goals and that kind of thing. Number 6, I would love for Irish people to support Italian footy, soccer, calcio, football, or whatever you want to call it, Serie A teams and that kind of thing. I'd love for them to have a partnership, like, for instance, having supporters clubs, academies, and whatnot for Serie A teams and Italian football generally, and maybe they could practice together. Again, they could have, Irish teams could have academies in Italy and vice versa. Serie A teams or Italians generally could have academies in Ireland, and they could practice together, especially at youth level, to help each other to practice. And given that Ireland at that St. Patrick's Day for Ireland, which I believe is Ireland's national day as well, it's Saint's Day. It's the day of its patron saint. But as Italy's Unification Day, or Unity or Unification Day, as I would call it, is on the same day, it would be great to see what those two nations have in common. Number 7, also Irish people around the world support Celtic. Now, I know Celtic already does have a lot of Irish supporters, and obviously with the Irish connection, the fact that Celtic was actually set up by an Irish Catholic priest a long time ago. Again, another thing that Italy and Ireland have in common, although I'm not Catholic myself, as I often say. But I would love for all possible Irish people, even those who don't like football, politically to support Celtic because of what it represents and how it sort of represents both Ireland and Scotland, much more than it does other parts of the UK. So anywho, I deliberately left this point for number 7 because I didn't want it to be the 3 6s, but I was thinking AI as an acronym. I know a lot of people think of AI as artificial intelligence, but AI could be an acronym for Anglo-Indians, and also for, and I typed it up in the comments because I often forget this name, so I hope to find a way to remember it. But if I can pronounce it right, so any Italians out there, please forgive my pronunciation and post up how you would pronounce this, possibly in brackets, how to pronounce it. But Associazione Italiana Allenatori Calcio, which is Italy's football coaching academies, and also the Association of Irish Celtic Supporters, AISCS, of course. So they all have AI in them, and I think that's quite fitting. I would love for Anglo-Indians to showcase what we could do for Italian football and for Ireland and Irish football, but especially Ireland's economy. And I would love to sort of have a sort of network where we could combine all those things. So Anglo-Indians and actually other Eurasians as an extension to show what we can contribute to Italian football coaching and ideas, and work with the Associazione Italiana Allenatori Calcio. As someone who only supports Italy in terms of football, soccer, calcio, footy again, or whatever you call it. Once again, I'm not very good with the pronunciation. So so please forgive me for that. But any Italians out there, or anyone who knows Italian, please post how you would pronounce that. But I'll say those 3, so Anglo-Indians and by an extent Eurasians generally, and Italian football coaching, and the Association of Irish Celtic Supporters to sort of network together, and also Ireland to network, I'll say, with Italians through football. Like maybe a part of the partnership, what I would love to see is Irish people benefiting Italian footy, soccer, calcio, football, again, whatever kind of thing, and in turn Italians to support the Irish economy. So I suppose that would kill 2 birds with 1 stone, i.e. get my goals sort of met together. So I hope that would bring a partnership between Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians, Italians through footy, Irish people, and Celtic FC. So those 3, I suppose, 4 backgrounds of people. Sorry, what's wrong with me? Stumbling on my words again. But yeah, so I'd love to see that sort of network and connection. Number 8, I would love to read people's views on what are some positive and negative things about Ireland. And I like to say the best for last. So say negative and positive things about Ireland, and also views on immigration. I was going to go into detail on that, but I think this video has gone on longer than planned, so I might cover that in part 2, 3, and 4. And sort of trying to play devil's advocate, so being as neutral as possible, like trying to listen to and read from the views on each side of the argument, and also offer my own 2 cents. Number 9, I'd love to support Irish projects generally, like poetry, art, writing. So Irish poets, artists, writers, architects, designers, and also projects, I'd say, like businesses. Again, there could be a list of the top X number of Irish businesses, and just generally raising the profile of Irish projects and products, and like how they can export more of their products and things like that. But again, it'll be interesting to read from and hear about facts about what Ireland imports and exports. And number 10, I'd love to support young people, and I know migration is a kind of issue. Again, I hope to cover that in parts 2, 3, and 4 as I planned to do in this one, but I realize it has gone on a bit longer than planned, actually 5 minutes or more longer than planned. Anyway, on that note, peace and love. I'm out.